Finance Committee on the
Like a
July
kid that never had
18th,
been.
Dr. Jones,
That's my second time.
Counselor Gwaltney, Counselor Allamon,
Yes.
Counselor Smith,
Here.
notice chairing, and Counselor Harden.
Here.
All right, so we have Jones and Gwaltney absent, but you still have 3, so you have 4.
And Andy will probably pop in here at some point soon. We'll make a note of it when he comes in. Okay, can I get a motion to approve, the minutes, and dispense with the reading?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Arlen, second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, that is 3-0 to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve those as presented.
If we can just keep them in that order, we can cut paste all the way down.
There you go.
Carlos,
Allamon,
I'll make a
Harden.
motion that we go into executive session to discuss pending litigation.
All right, we have a motion to go into executive session for Mr. Harden and a second for Mr. Allen. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0, okay. And we are discussing pending litigation, and don't we have to set a time limit or something?
Yeah, expect to be back.
15 minutes, okay. All right, so I don't know who that, Mr. Pugh.
Did y'all vote and say 3-0?
Yes. Motion again, we're back in regular session.
I'd like to make a motion to put us back in regular session. We got a second again.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Second.
All right, so Carlos and Mr. Harden, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, we are back in regular session, and please note that Mr. Walton is now in the meeting, so. Yes,
So noted.
that's right, he is. over there. Okay, so, all right, so, next item is 250417, request for consideration of 18th Street revitalization projects. And since I knew we were going into executive session, I let our friend go so he would not have to sit here. Where's Kale? Kale's not back. Okay, so, the only thing that he wanted to, oh, there you are. About the 18th Street. There's one item, mostly we were just gonna get an update on progress, which is everything's still going on. But there is one item that we wanted to point out, and that is,
My hatch pattern doesn't show up. So they're just gonna close the lane, the southernmost lane on 28th Street headed to the east until probably Thursday, but might say Friday. I mean, it might be Friday.
What's going on? Just road repair?
They need to do work at the intersection of the southwestern intersection of 28th and 18th. And so, yeah, the corner, that's right. They've already done some brick paver work, but they just needed to get into the lane so they would have room. But then they closed the entire lane back to Linden, just for folks to have time to get over.
that, if y'all wanna let people know that, it's already closed, right?
It's already closed. I emailed you and,
You be sitting on Everbridge?
So it'll be there through, yeah, that'd be great if we can send
yeah,
that out.
copy you on the email.
I saw it, I just hadn't got it unless
And
it's.
hopefully just through Thursday, but possibly through Friday, so probably best to say through Friday, just in case.
I had a quick question. Just sorry,
No.
but I was driving out today towards Little Donkey, and there is a hedge. And maybe this was discussed last time, so I was not here, but that's just overgrown, and you can't really tell that it's even walkable. Like if you head towards the meat, the coffee shop, and Kava Cycles, it just seems overgrown. You can't tell if there's sidewalk there, and if there's anything we could do in terms of cutting that down.
Those big hollies?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're gonna, the folks who are, yeah, redeveloping the NATO building is.
They're supposed to take all.
Yeah, that's part, yeah, because he came last week to talk about their plans, and so that was part of it, was if all that was coming out and they were doing all kinds of stuff.
I'll tell him you want it out,
That's great.
All right, Melanie, do you have a question?
Could we get some sort of traffic margin to the far left lane a little bit before they get to that intersection, somewhere around the corner, roadwork
sign?
ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Like maybe around the corner before they're entering that. We should have had that on Park Ridge, just like a few blocks down, it might have changed. But anyway, I think that'd be good if we could do that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Thanks. Okay, all right, and so that was really the big update.
That's the big thing, yeah, they're down in front of Roby Man's working and everybody seems to be happy at this point.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so that is that, so we'll continue to carry that item over for updates until the project is complete. And then the next item is 210522, request to present the fiscal year-end 9/30/21 audit results per fiscal policy guidelines. Mr. Burgett, Ms. Salter, and I believe we have some handouts. Andy, did you get yours? Okay. Okay, so, lay it on us.
Oh, boy, okay. First of all, we haven't got the completed audit booklets back. They haven't gone through the final quality control review committee. None of the information is going to change. All the numbers are static and consistent, but they had an issue getting confirmations back from the Bank of New York Mellon. The lady was out on maternity leave, and that was one of the things that held them up. But the numbers and all are finalized in the audit. And basically, we finished the year with a $269,357 surplus in the general fund, and that was over all our expenditures. The first test that we do is the test for the economic uncertainty account, and basically that account it's a restricted account which is only can be authorized by use by council, and it's for any type of severe economic downturn that the city sees or foresees in the future. Fortunately, we got through COVID the last 2 years without having to use any of this money, so we've been real good and real disciplined as far as our expenditures and revenues for the last few years, and we've been able to retain the balance in that uncertainty fund. If you start with our budget that the finance committee approved budget for the fiscal year ended 9/30. The budget was $58,407,339, and we had two major transfers out of that line item. One is the transfer to the Board of Education, which is 25% of our sales tax, or 1 cent of the 4 cents that we collected. We transferred to the Board of Education $9,618,494. That's the largest transfer we've had to date with Homewood. And then we transfer out of that sales tax fund, which is part of our bond requirements, is we transfer 1 cent of our 4 cents of sales tax to our debt service fund to fund our bond obligations, and that was a transfer of $6 million. There's two tests that we have to meet per the fiscal policy. When you reduce our general fund finance committee approved amount by the two transfers, we work with a number of $42,788,845. And we're required, the first test that we have is we're required to have 25% of that in our economic uncertainty fund, and the amount that we were needed for the test is $10,697,211.25. We currently have a balance of $11,959,268. That was at the 9/30/21 balance. So we passed our first test of a 25% of our operating budget in our economic uncertainty fund. The second test there is 30% of our budget amount in our economic uncertainty fund. The reason we do two different tests, it gives us what amount we need to transfer if we do not meet the test. On the 30%, we did not meet the test. That amount is $12,836,653.50. So we were short of meeting the 30% of our operating budget in our economic uncertainty fund, and that's going to require a transfer of our surplus from our general fund to the economic uncertainty fund per fiscal policy of $67,339.25. Now, what we will be doing is transferring money from Bryant Bank, from our public investment account, to our an economic uncertainty account. And it's not going to hit the general fund, but that in effect will give us a surplus for the fiscal year ending 9/30/21 of $202,018. Is there any questions on that
can I just make a comment?
Absolutely.
From the peanut gallery? Because I know this came up a lot of times during election time, but just wanted to point out for the record that this is your own council fiscal policies. So when we're talking about failing a test or something, it's not failing a test. It's basically saying that the fiscal policy, of which we've been highly commended with all our bond rating agencies when we've gone to the market about having such a comprehensive policy, is saying that our goal, your goal as a council is to say, okay, this 58 million that you're looking at down to the 42 million is your 21, 22, which is what's really next year's budget, because you're looking at year end, not 30, 21. If you don't have 30% of that budget, we want you to work towards the goal of getting 30% in your rainy day fund. We had the 25%. So obviously, you know, our budget expenditures went up higher this past year as we gave a COLA. So it's not saying that we necessarily failed anything, it's just saying we didn't have the 30%, we had the 25%. So the fiscal policy has you moving money to the rainy day fund or economic uncertainty to get to the 30% over time. So I don't want any negative connotation of failing a test kind of thing, if it's quoted out there in Facebook land, because this is our own comprehensive policies that have been very highly regarded for.
That we put into place for
correct.
ourselves.
So this is being fiscally responsible to make sure that we're working towards the goal every year of having 30% of the next year's budget in the rainy day fund or the economic.
In case there's some sort of
And
catastrophic.
That's my comment.
Yes, very good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Okay. And again, I appreciate Melody clarifying that, because it is a self-imposed test, a self-imposed requirement that the council has placed on the city. The second portion is for compensated absences and risk management. We're required to have reserves that can cover the compensated absences if the city was to shut down today, the ability to pay those to the employees. That amount, we ended the year with $2,432,016 in compensated absence expense or liability. And we have that covered by our public funds investments, which has a balance of $12,104,977 at 9/30/21. And then risk management, this is again, an amount of money that the council has wanted the state keep on hand in the event of some type of catastrophic loss or catastrophic issue that the city needs to cover, in addition to what we carry general liability and physical damage insurance for. It's $1 million, and we have that covered by the balance in the public funds investment of $12,104,977. So those are two tests that we can easily pass. There's other transfers and other issues that we need to look at. On the second page, you've got your, again, you use the same formula. You take your Finance Committee approved budget, you deduct your transfers, which is the Board of Education transfer and the debt service transfer. So we're working with an operating budget in the general fund of $42,788,845. The test here is that we maintain a balance of 16% of our operating budget in our public fund investment account, which that 16% is $6,846,215. We have that covered by our public funds investment that are in deposit of $12,104,977. So we easily pass that test. We pass that test even with the 16% that the policy requires us to have, and the compensated absence and risk management all added together. So we're in very good shape on that item there. The next item is item number 4, which is our cash reserve for capital projects, and that requires that we have a $750,000 cash reserve in capital projects at 9/30/21, and we did. Our balance at 9/30/21 was $3,295,930. But let me clarify that this year our capital projects fund has done better than in previous years, and that's because of the ARPA funding and We didn't have to pay for the diverging diamond, which was 1.2 million this year. That's been pushed off into the future. And then we've had the ARPA funding, which we were able to transfer a lot of the stormwater projects out of capital project and use ARPA money for. So that's why we are in good shape on our capital projects fund for this year.
We had the bond proceed, bond refunding too.
And that's right, we had the additional cash that came in from our bond refunding that we did.
And they're still talking about there being additional ARPA funds.
We will get 3.16 million, they say to the middle of the end of this month. It could be in any day, that's what they're
Okay, so
anticipating.
it's July, by end of July, we're supposed to have received that.
Yes, that's what they're saying.
Which will hopefully help capital on the next year's budget that we're still working on.
Sure.
'Cause we already allocated all of the three this year, between the stormwater and
Yeah.
the other.
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah, we've used it up.
And the train, the chiller, the other, we had.
Yeah.
I think we budgeted like 1.4 million for the chiller out of the ARPA funding, and it came back in just over $1 million, so we had additional 400,000.
That's helped, because some of the
from
stormwater that we didn't
Yeah,
know we were
went
gonna have
over.
to do, we've had to do. But, one other note, I just wanna say, just what Robert said, capital's been helped, you know, I always go back to Dr. Jones asking what used to keep me and Robert up at night, I said capital. And we have made a concerted effort in the last, even before this new council came on, to try to move, general fund surplus to capital, be proactive about it, because we knew we were gonna have this mismatch where these projects were all hitting. But this past year, since COVID, we haven't really able to make a transfer, so we weren't able to, we weren't able to make any transfer to capital of the the 200,000 surplus Robert talked about on the first page. We did pay bonuses of like 315,000, exclusive of the ARPA pay, but we couldn't move any money so capital fortunately has been helped with the refund financing of the bonds we've been able to do in the construction fund, and like Robert said, the ARPA, and shifting some of those projects out of there, which has been timely since we didn't have enough general fund surplus with the effects of COVID still having around to where we couldn't move any to capital, so.
And who knows when the diverging diamond is.
Yeah, I thought, and I just don't remember, we had to pay them in two
But we put it,
payments.
but we moved it to the bond, we moved it to the Fund 26 from capital, we moved it to the, it's budgeted this year to be used with the bond refi money, but we haven't spent it yet, but it was able to get moved out of capital with using bond money if we need to pay it, or we have it budgeted to pay out of the bond money. So that's what's helped
If it
capital.
happens.
Because my last memory was is that the price went up with our friends at the state, and I thought we paid them that 1.2 million.
No.
We haven't paid
Handed it
anything.
to
We
them.
have not paid them
budgeted,
anything.
but it was
But
not
we
paid.
never handed it to them, I didn't realize
No,
that.
no,
I
it
thought-
was
We don't,
budgeted.
we don't pay them until it's. bid,
Actually happened.
Until it's actually bid and accepted. That's why we ain't relying on that memory of yours.
When you go to reviewing the budget, and it's gonna be before you know it, you're gonna see a budget line item of XYZ with 0 spent in the budget action, because we haven't made a payment yet.
Yeah.
But
I
it did
promise
get.
you, the price is going up.
Well, and I mean, listen, I sincerely doubt that it's gonna happen in the 2022, 2023, but who knows, maybe they'll surprise me.
Those are why it's working on.
I think we, well, Robert,
It's
I
a lot
think
of
we
fun
made.
if anyone wants to join.
Yeah, no thanks.
But we
pass.
moved Greenway too, and I think the Diverging Diamond out of capital into the
Into the-
construction fund
yeah.
and Green Spring Revitalization, and that helped capital.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we couldn't move any general fund money over there.
Right, yeah, okay.
Right, and the final test is on our debt service fund. Due to the bond refunding we did this year, we came out real well, because actually we were kind of like when you refinance your house, we were able to skip a bond payment this year, which was several $1 million. But our bond payments were total $11,926,961, and our balance at 9/30/21 is $17,928,792 in our bond fund. So that's helped. The balance there is stronger than it would have been if we'd not refunded, because we were able to skip a payment for one of the bonds that we refunded this year, and so we do. We're in good stead on the debt service fund, and we also meet the fiscal policy we're required to have the balance on hand.
except every time Steeple comes in on call ID, me and Robert now go in post-traumatic stress because we're always doing bond refunding, but the absolute worst time Homewood.
There won't be anyone
I know, there you go.
You don't have anything to worry about right now.
I know, but it's like now, I just immediately, when I see Steeple, I start,
Prices
I
went
get
up.
anxiety.
All right, does
Bonds are
anybody
expensive.
have any questions for Mr. Burgett or Melody about the presentation? Thank y'all for doing this. Yeah, I'm sorry, Nate.
I'm sorry, no, I have one quick question, and we can follow up on this if it's not known at this time, but around this time last year, we also allowed somebody to begin collecting, like, to go after people who hadn't paid their business licenses and so forth. And I didn't know if with any of the, the review of this, if you found that any of that's come back yet.
You talking about the?
Avenue.
River.
Oh, Avenue?
Avenue.
That has been a contentious relationship, to be
Okay.
quite honest, because when y'all agreed to accept Avenue to do business license discovery for the city of Homewood, it was outside the city of Homewood, because we have a revenue examiner that does the city of Homewood, and
River Tree.
and River Tree does the city of Homewood. So the agreement that you signed with them was outside the city of Homewood. Well, they have pressed us from the day that contract was assigned to get all the city of Homewood business license, and they wanted to do discovery in Homewood. And
We have
we've continually told them that's not the agreement.
Yeah.
And so.
We did just get our first, we haven't, and I haven't showed Robert, we did get our first collection, or they take their fee out of but it was a minor, we can give it to you at the next finance meeting. So they found one, but I don't think they were happy with they didn't appear to be happy with just limiting it to outside Homewood for delivery and that kind of thing. But we did actually we did get one collection so far that they sent to us of what they found. They take their fee out, but we had a huge, two huge collections, I think, internally within Homewood of people, our internal staff
Yeah,
found.
didn't Bo found a big one? Didn't he?
Yeah, well, internally, yes,
Yeah.
and we found, and I think River Tree, but I don't know that was exactly, as far as when we sent the amount of reports to just was who is excluded, who comes into delivery and not domiciled in Homewood. I think there was some, I don't know if confusion or disappointment that was not more people, if that makes sense. Because the bulk of our business licenses are actually domiciled here in Homewood, or they're, what do you call it, your home office or whatever here.
They're
or-
physically
or-
located.
Or
in
your
the city.
contractors that come in, we do a great job with White Pew's office. They don't issue a building permit without making sure they have a license, so we are internally monitoring that ourselves with our contractors. So they were basically limited to people other than contractors or delivery people that come in. So I don't know that they were,
And I can't remember, how long was that contract?
Well,
It's up now.
they called,
okay,
they
already
called, they've called several times, but it will be put on, if we choose to, put it on committee referral to discuss at the next finance committee meeting
Okay.
to see if we want to renew it. They're pushing to renew it and stating that now they understand, but I thought they understood before we actually signed the last contract
Yes.
with them. So that's something that will be going, on the committee referral if Mr. Jones agrees to it for the
Okay.
next
next
finance.
because we already have a lot, it's a lot of, like, we already have, we contract with the state of Alabama, ADR, to collect our sales tax.
Yeah.
Well, they already have a cross-check that they do between their sales tax and business license, so we already have that where they're cross-checking business license.
Yeah.
And so then we have River Tree, and then we have our own internal, so we have to
Right.
try to make sure that we don't have too many people.
Right, too many.
Hitting.
Right, at the same time.
At once, and so some of the reports that they wanted from the Alabama Department of Revenue, we were like, well, we can't really send you that because we're already using either our own internal staff or Alabama Department of Revenue sends their own audit people out too, so, but because they have done both pieces, like, at another city they work at, they've done the sales tax before, so they had the sales tax, well, we use the state, so.
Yeah.
I don't know that they realized, I guess, just the population size was gonna be smaller on the business licenses outside of.
Right.
So,
Well, it sounds like there's more to come soon on that, so thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, if there are no more questions, then I think the appropriate motion would be to accept, the report.
It is actually gonna be a resolution, Ms. Smith, for the
Okay.
$67,000 transfer, so
Okay.
we'll just top one up until y'all actually vote on a resolution recommending the 67,000 transfer.
All right, can we make one motion that approves the presentation and, approves the,
I think so, I think
the
the
transfer?
Make a
Okay.
motion to approve the presentation and accept the transfer.
All right,
Second.
okay. Motion from Mr. Gwaltney, second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So that will be 4-0, and we'll vote on that in, council next Monday. And we have no new business, so with that, we are adjourned.